Two Super Bowl champs, Logan, Bryant, McFadden joining us now, back with us here on HQ. And fellas, we're going to break down this matchup and ask the question, who has the edge? Which team? And we're going to start off with a position group that you two know all too well. We've got two corners here. So we're going to look at the secondary. It seems like McDermott is able to get Buffalo's secondary to play with such cohesion, but the Kansas City Chiefs, they have a talent advantage, one could say. They're so well balanced. All right, B-Mac, which team has the advantage here?
Well, for me, I side with the Kansas City Chiefs when you look at their secondary. You know, Trent McDuffie is an all-around versatile player. He does a great job being sound in coverage. The thing I love about Trent McDuffie, though, he's a willing participant when it comes to tackling. He does not mind tackling, and you rarely see him miss tackles. Then that's the same can be said throughout their entire secondary. They do a great job in keeping the roof on the house, not allowing explosive plays, but most importantly, not allowing yak from any pass catcher or ball carrier that's running with the football. And look at the experience they have as well. These guys, for the most part, have all played together for quite some time, and especially in these moments. You talk about championship-like moments. In AFC championship games, the majority of their core has been together for quite some time, especially when you look at Reed in the back end as well. So I side with Kansas City when you look at the secondary play.
Yeah, I agree with B-Mac here. Kansas City has the edge in the secondary. They're more talented. They have the all-pro in McDuffie. And I like the style of play, right? I like that they play press, man-to-man. They challenge the receivers. For the fan at home, all that means is they're not letting up any easy catches. They are living with it on the island. They are challenging everything. They're not going to give Josh Allen easy throws or easy access. They're going to make it hard, and that's the style of defense I played in New England. That's how we believe. When you have a Hall of Fame quarterback on the other side, you don't give the other team anything easy. You live with it, and that's how Kansas City plays. They mix it up. They run a lot of different defense, but ultimately they're going to challenge those receivers. They're not backing down from anybody. They don't have all the biggest name corners in the league. They're led by McDuffie and some good safeties. But the other guys, everyone else on the field, they're going to challenge those wideouts.
Let's go to the front seven here, sticking with the defense. Who has the edge in this one? And I will say both of these front sevens are very salty. I feel like these have been the most outspoken players about being, for lack of a better word, pissed off. The Chiefs are not mad about losing to the Bills in Week 11. And these defensive players said, I remember what that is like. On the other side, you got the Bills saying, look, we remember the past 3 times we lost to in the postseason. You guys, interestingly enough, disagree. B-Mac, I'll give you first. No, I lied. I want to go with Logan because B-Mac, I want to hear a rebuttal.
Ooh.
Okay, giving B-Mac the second chance to counter here. All right, I'm going with the Buffalo Bills, okay, because they just went and held one of the greatest rushing attacks I've ever witnessed in Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, well below their numbers. They're healthier. They got Matt Milano back. They got Bernard back. Bernard had that peanut punch on Mark Andrews, which won Buffalo the game. I understand they dropped a 2-point conversion to tie it, but that turnover was instrumental. If they don't make that play last week, then the Ravens would have been playing from the lead and the Bills would have been behind there. So I like what they got in the front. Ed Oliver stepped up. These guys are stepping up on the front. I love the combination of both backers. And if you saw it listed, we had Taron Johnson listed in that front, one of the best nickel backs in the league, along with McDuffie. But McDuffie is not as good in the run game as Taron Johnson is for stopping the run, being a defensive front. So they have one of the best slot corners in the game involved in that. Listed at the bottom there. They have Terrell, Bernard, and Milano, who are back from injury. And the front four has played extremely well against Baltimore, which has a better running attack than Kansas City. And, oh, by the way, we didn't name Von Miller, who leads the playoff all-time in sacks. So they have a true closer on that side, too. I understand Kansas City is going to bring up Chris Jones. I understand that Chris Jones is the best player listed. But as the front seven, as a whole, what Buffalo has, what they had to play against last week, they have the better defensive front this year.
Well, I respectfully disagree. And here's why. When it comes to late January football, 2 things we know for sure with Kansas City. It's going to be cold, and Chris Jones is going to be a man amongst boys. It's his time to shine. It's the same thing can be said for Travis Kelce in playoff football. Travis might give you some production here or there in the regular season, but in playoff time, you know he's going to show up. Let's start with Chris Jones. To your point, he is the best player when you look at either side in terms of what he does in playoff moments and what he's done throughout his professional career. Then George Karlaftis. Wow. You talking about a welcome to the playoff party last week. 3 sacks. He has been a man amongst boys as well. So when you look at what those two guys can do in terms of helping the second level guys out, they've been outstanding. And I've yet to see them slow down in playoff football. When you look at the linebackers, I love what they have with Chanel, Nick Bolton. These guys have experience and they played together for quite some time, which is tied into the secondary. And the last key nugget and why I'm taking the front 7 from the Kansas City Chiefs, their defensive play caller is Steve Spagnuolo. He is arguably the best defensive caller we've seen, especially in postseason opportunities. He always have game plans in play. He always have an opportunity to put his guys in position to be successful, and it has worked tremendously. So when you factor in the play caller along with the individual players that they have on their front, I'm going to side with Kansas City on this one.
All right, we're going to look at pass catchers next. So, B-Mac, you just mentioned Travis Kelce there. You saw what he did last week, what he's capable of. You got Worthy, Hopkins, Brown. It seems like we're trending with Kansas City when it comes to this topic. Who feels passionate about this? Raise your hand. Pass catchers, Casey?
I don't like pass catchers.
Okay, B-Mac, why are you going with the Chiefs?
Fair enough, though, Logan. I like that. I like that.
I think we both would agree. You have to, look at what the Chiefs have. What Travis Kelce, playoff Trav. He's here. He's ready to play football, and it's safe to say he's finally in football shape. You know what I mean? And he usually dominates in this period of the season. And then you have to factor in a guy like DeAndre Hopkins. Yes, he didn't do a lot last week, but he has the big play making ability. The same can be said for Hollywood Brown as well. And you can't forget about Xavier Worthy. So when you look at what their pass catchers have done, they haven't really given you like video game-like numbers, but they can give you the production that you need. So if you had to factor in either side, I'm taking Kansas City with this in terms of the experience factor, not to mention when you look at what they have in terms of quantity. They have a slew of guys that you can get the football to, and they can do numbers for you, and most importantly, put you in position to win ball games.
Let's go to quarterback here, and look, this is a massive game. As I mentioned, it's Mahomes, it's Allen. You have Mahomes, who has been a proven guy in the postseason. You have Josh Allen, who has put up an MVP season. Okay, I gave Logan. I'm going to let you pick here. You want to go first, or do you want to tell B-Mac why he's wrong?
I'll go first. I got no problem leading. Yeah, I'm going to go, and this could be controversial, obviously, but I'm going with Josh Allen. I'm going with Josh Allen because of this season. Right, this has not been Patrick Mahomes' best season, and we could always look back at years past. B-Mac's going to mention the playoffs and how he comes out, and he's going to show up and all this stuff. I understand the playoff records. Josh Allen won head-to-head this year. He is their MVP. Regardless if he wins MVP, he's the Bills' MVP. They would not be nowhere near sniffing this game. They're not sniffing the playoffs without Josh Allen. B-Mac mentioned, and he's going to mention Andy Reid. He's going to mention Spagnuolo. The Chiefs will still make the playoffs because of the coaching alone. Josh Allen is the Bills, right? And he's the better runner in the red zone. If they're great passers, they're both great passers. Yes, Josh Allen has more touchdowns this year. He has more passing yards. He's beating him in every statistical stat this year, so B-Mac cannot bring that up. But they're both great passers. They both throw off platform. They both extend plays. When you get to the red area, Mahomes can scramble and try to extend some things. But Josh Allen is the leading rusher for the Bills in the red area. He seals games. And then head-to-head, this year, he did not give the ball back to the Chiefs for Pat to do what he does best and come back. Josh Allen prevented that. The only guy that Mahomes lost to this year was Josh Allen. So is Mahomes the better quarterback of all time? Maybe. But this year, for this game, the better matchup goes to Josh Allen for what he done head-to-head this year, what he's did this season, the fact that he's in the MVP race this year, and Pat Mahomes is in the top 10.
Well, I love your efforts, Logan. And some of the things
say
you
something
said,
I didn't say,
of
though.
Course.
Say something I didn't say.
No. I'm going to prove you wrong with this one easily because you said I'm going to mention Pat Mahomes' playoff record and his success. Well, what's understood that it doesn't need to be said, so I'm not going to mention that. But what I will say is, to your point about Josh Allen, how good he's been this season, yes, you're right. He's been amazing. He's MVP caliber, no question. You talked about Josh Allen already beating Pat Mahomes this season and giving them the very first loss of the year. You're right. He did that. But we've seen this story before. Go back to last season, right? In Kansas City. Guess what Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills did? They went into Kansas City and they came out with a win. He outplayed Pat Mahomes like he did this season. He outplayed him in that one-on-one matchup. But one thing I know about these two players, yes, regular season success, it means something. But one thing I do know, one of these guys hit a whole nother level when it comes to meaningful games when all the marbles are in the middle of the table. So we've seen Josh Allen beat him in regular season play. We've seen it.
Sure.
The last 2 seasons, he's done it. But guess what he hasn't done? He's yet to beat him in a playoff. And until I see otherwise, I'm riding with Pat Mahomes. In the words of my favorite childhood wrestler growing up, the Nature Boy, Ric Flair, to beat a man, you got to beat the man. Until I see it happens, I'm taking Pat Mahomes. And I'll say this, too, for all of us right now. Logan, Jenny, Amanda, if you had to put everything you own in the middle of the table in terms of who you trust to come out and win this ball game Sunday, I believe all of us would do the same thing and put everything we own on Pat Mahomes. You know why? Because we've seen it time and time again. So, yeah, you're right. Josh Allen has outperformed Pat Mahomes this season. Yeah, he did it last year also. But for this game, for Sunday, Game 7, I'm taking money Pat Mahomes.
You take money, Pat Mahomes. I'm very happy for you. Bro, what are you doing over there? I'm on Team Logan right now. You can't argue with the season that Josh Allen has put up. We'll see if he can continue it in the postseason. By the way, they both agree when it comes to coaching that Andy Reid has the advantage there. I don't think many people would argue with that. Bills Chiefs coming up Sunday, 6:30 Eastern. You can check it out on CBS. It's a Super Bowl, if you will, of the AFC. Coming up, we'll turn it over to the NFC for the breakdown there between the Eagles and the Commanders. The proven team against the rookie quarterback. Coming up. Welcome back into CBS Sports HQ, getting you ready for Conference Championship Weekend. This was probably not the matchup that we saw coming, but by all means, it is interesting. Not only do you have divisional rivals in the Commanders and the Eagles going at one another, but Jaden Daniels looking to become the first rookie quarterback to start in a Super Bowl. Of course, Jalen Hurts and the Eagles, they have been to the Super Bowl before, didn't turn out like they wanted. We're playing a little game with two of our experts here. Who has got the edge? So both of them going with the birds when it comes to the running backs, offensive line, and defensive line. We're going to dive into a couple other positions as well.
And our expert, Logan Ryan, Bryant McFadden, back with us now, breaking down this NFC Championship mascot. I mean,
they got mascots.
That too. All right, so who has the edge? We're going to talk about the secondary first. It seems like once Cooper DeJean was inserted into the starting lineup, the Eagles started playing like they had the best secondary in all of the league out there. The Commanders, they have some good pieces on the back end as well. B-Mac, who do you like?
I love the Eagles secondary, man. When you look at big play Slay, Darius Slay is still playing like a young lad in the National Football League. He's found his fountain of youth. He is the experienced leader of the group. And then when you factor in what we've witnessed from young players like Quinyon Mitchell, he's been outstanding, locked down. Yes, he got injured last game, but just if he's able to go, you know he's going to be a lockdown type of corner opposite of Darius Slay. And then Cooper DeJean in the nickel. You rarely see a nickel cornerback around 6 foot, over 200 pounds. But his ability to be have that size and still be nimble and quick enough to follow some of the quicker, smaller slot receivers in the National Football League has been overly impressive. So I love what he brings to the table. And then C.J. Gardner-Johnson, the back end, he is like the motor for the engine. He is the guy who's the tone setter. He gets everyone going. I love his style of play and how physical he is. So I side with the Philadelphia Eagles. Even though the Washington Commanders, they're playing more inspired football right now compared to what they did not do in the regular season, but I still side with the Eagles.
Commanders fans probably not liking this segment so far. It's not going to get any better because we're going to go who has the edge with the linebackers here. Both of you guys going with the birds yet again. Logan, why is that?
No, I'm actually switching up right now.
Ooh,
I'm switching
I like
up live.
Okay, why are you switching?
Yeah, I'm going because when I look at linebackers, I'm looking off the ball backers, right? We have some guys that rush the passer that are labeled as a linebacker, but they're more of those defensive ends. They rush the passer. Off the ball backers, the Eagles have a defensive player of the year candidate in Vaughn, right? But don't get tired of what Bobby Wagner's doing. Don't get tired of greatness now. He's a Hall of Famer, and he's had another great year. So you have Bobby Wagner, arguably the best linebacker in the last 10 years. And he's still playing inspired, still playing well. The leader in signal call. I trust him in games like this. And you pair him with a Frankie Louvu. Just destruction all over the place. Frankie Louvu is like Bond, in my opinion. Athletic, can run. He can rush the passer. He has 6.5, 7 sacks. So the combination of Wagner and Louvu, they're not only better than the Eagles. The Eagles got some N'Kobe Dean banged up. That's one of the top combinations in the league. So off the ball backer, linebacker, I'm going over to the Commanders, showing them some love.
So just for clarity really quickly, B-Mac, we had initially had front 7, and both of you guys were taking the Eagles. We moved it to linebacker position. And so, B-Mac, are you flipping over to the Commanders for this as well?
Now, I love Logan's point with the Commanders because Frankie and Bobby, they have really played really good football. And the same can be said for their entire defense, guys, because when you look at some of the issues in the regular season, they have really effaced that out of their game plan. They're playing sound, stout football. But I'm going to side with the Eagles, and here's why. Not having N'Kobe Dean, he's a big-time loss because he was like the quarterback of their defense. But Zach Bond has been outstanding. He's playing like a defensive player of the year type of candidate. When you talk about what he does in the passing game, not to mention in the run support as well. And then lastly, I love the off-ball mentality because Nolan Smith is that type of guy. He's a guy who can drop into coverage, but he's a guy who's done a great job over the last few weeks putting relentless pressure on imposing quarterbacks. And he's been playing some of the best football we've seen from him in his early career in the last 3 or 4 weeks of the season. So with him being as hot as he's been, one would think he will get opportunities to do what he's been doing, which is put pressure on Jaden Daniels, which will help the entire defense, especially the second level guys. So I can see this going either direction because the Commanders have been playing good football, but I'm just going to give the nod to the Eagles.
Giving the nod to the Eagles. Okay. Well, we're going to talk about the receivers and the tight end position next because when you look at the Eagles and you look at some of the weapons they have offensively, you just say Saquon Barkley, and then you're like, okay.
They're good.
Well, they're good. So who has the advantage when it comes to the receivers and the tight ends? What do you think? We'll go with you, Logan.
Yeah, this is pretty obvious, in my opinion. It's the Eagles. I don't think Zach Ertz, who's playing well, would start on the Eagles, right? The Eagles literally have a number 1 in A.J. Brown, a number 2 in Smith, and they have the tight end in Goddard. So the pass catchers, they have all the pieces, like Bread, like top of the cupboard, just elite at every single position, elite in their roles. They just haven't been involved, right? Their pass game has not been involved because it's all about the run game. So literally Terry McLaurin is playing the best of any receiver right now. A.J. Brown's been reading some books. He's been out of it a little bit. But the Eagles potentially, and they do on paper, have the better receiver at each position. Literally, quite frankly, probably tops in the league of receiver and tight end room.
D-Mac?
Go?
Oh, no, we're not having...
Oh, yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I agree. I want to try to make a legit argument for the Commanders, but I can't. I really can't. Logan hit on all the key points. Yes, we haven't really seen the production, but we know what the Eagles have at the pass catcher position. Dallas Goedert has been outstanding, especially with him being healthy once again. We know who A.J. Brown is. We know who Smitty is as well. And even the third in Johan Dotson, you know, who they acquired from the Commanders. He can give you production if receiving the proper opportunities. So it's hard to make a legit argument for the Commanders because the Eagles have quite a few playmakers on their offense that you can get the football to in the passing game.
Final thing we're going to come down to is the quarterbacks here. It's really interesting. Jalen Hurts going up against the rookie and Jaden Daniels. Look, guys, I think normally we would go with the veteran here. However, look, we've had some question about his throwing, about his pockets presence, and then he got hurt in that last game. And Jaden Daniels is just a flat-out stud right now. Logan, which way are you leaning? Who has the edge in the quarterback position?
Oh, this is Jaden Daniels. The Commanders would not be in this game. The Commanders would not be anywhere close to the playoffs without this kid. This kid has been unbelievable. I said it, best rookie quarterback of all time. His ability to put the ball in his hands. I played in this league a long time. Over 11 years in this league, I played in like 19, 20 playoff games. You're trying to make sure that rookies don't mess it up. Okay, people have been doing this for a long year, longer than this kid was alive, the last, Washington win in the playoffs and whatnot. And this kid's making it look easy. They put it all on his plate. We know how he processes through virtual reality, whatever. This kid has been unreal. He's been the best player in the playoffs this year. He's been the best player in the playoffs with all the great quarterbacks in the playoffs. He has been the best one so far. He's unbelievable. I've never seen anything like it, how well he's playing as a rookie and how much is on his plate as a rookie. The offense goes through him. The Eagles' offense goes through Saquon Barkley. Therefore, by default, it's Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, dead on. I'm right there with you, Logan. Lockstep. Jaden Daniels has been unbelievable. And I'm taking Jaden Daniels, even, let's say, hypothetically speaking, Jalen Hurts was fully healthy with no issues. I'm still taking Jaden Daniels. Jalen Hurts hasn't thrown for 150 yards in the 2 playoff games. To your point, everything has been coming through the running attack. But for Washington, everything goes through their quarterback. And we just had a discussion about who has the edge when you look at pass catchers. We're taking the Eagles. But that tells you how good Jaden Daniels has been, because they're in this position because outside of Scary Terry, he's making the other guys look really, really good because he is him at the quarterback position. And to your point about how easy he's making these things look in terms of how he goes about his business, last time I checked, he played against Detroit, but it looked like he was back in the SEC playing against the Kentucky Wildcats because he was just having a phenomenal day, and every play he was smiling. I hate seeing quarterbacks smile because they're not under duress. They're just too comfortable. That's who Jaden Daniels has been throughout his rookie campaign and, most importantly, what he's done in this playoff stretch.
When did you smile during your games, B-Mac? Like just after you hit someone or stole a ball?
Yeah, I think I would smile when I hit someone, I made a play, or, if we did something well. I'm always smiling whenever we did something good. That's a good time to smile usually.
There's always time to smile. That's what we say.
He just doesn't want to see his quarterback smiling.
Exactly. All right. We appreciate you too. And there's going to be much more when it comes to this conversation. You can check out our podcast, Pushing the Pile. Mike Renner, Kyle Long. They pick and preview the AFC and NFC championship games while giving you the matchups that will decide the weekend.